good to imagine seeing you. I hope that this finds you well and safe and happy. Gonna do it's morning for me. It may not be morning for you. Gonna do a little practice to help wake us up, stretch us out a little bit, and then also bring some loving attention into our core area. Let's call it that, shall we? Loving attention. So find yourself a spot, a mat, a towel, the porch. Some of you have written me that you're practicing outside. I think that sounds so swell. If I could record these outside, I would do that. But in any case, get what you need. Pause anytime you need to. Probably only going to be about 30 minutes today, but we'll make them good. 30 minutes, okay? So finding a comfortable stance. We're going to start on our feet. Today we'll end up on the ground, but let's start up, right, whatever the most secure, comfortable stance is for you. And if standing isn't available to you, you can do a lot of these things sitting in a chair if that would be better. So just make that adjustment. If you can, you may not be able to. If you can, pick your toes up and let them come back down a few times. It just helps sort of wake up the bottoms of those feet, and it's going to help with the balance, which we're actually going to do a little bit of early-ish today. So play around with them. If you can lift them up and then think about spreading them wide the same way that you could do with your fingers, sort of between this and this. So if you can do that, try that. If you can't, no worries. Just any movement that you can make is going to help wake all of that up. And then I'm going to ask you to soften your knees. Try not to lock those joints as we move through. We want to keep all of our channels, all of our joints open so that as we are breathing, we can help get that circulation moving everywhere. So we're going to start inhaling out and up, exhaling down through center. It goes like this. Soft little bend in the knees. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Bend in the knees again. Your breath pattern does not have to match mine. So just continue those breaths, helping to get you loose and ready. If it's available on your neck, let your eyes come up as your hands come overhead, and then follow your hands down on the exhale. The bottom of your exhale. Pause. Let that chin relax towards the chest. Soften the knees a little if you have a tendency to lock them, or they can be straight so long as the knee joints aren't locked. Take a couple of inhales and exhales here. Try to keep that spine nice and long. Try to let the chin relax on the chest or towards the chest. A nice deep stretch for the back of your neck. One more. And as you inhale and bring the face up, bring it back like you're sort of on purpose making a double chin. And then let it recenter. So you get a little extra stretch in the back of the neck. We're going to continue to inhale up, but what I want you to do is, if it is available, if it's okay with you, I want you to let your gaze follow your hands alternating. So Again, softness in those knees, no locking out that joint. On the inhale, I'm going to let my gaze follow the right hand. Exhaling through center. This inhale, I'll let my gaze follow the left hand. Again, only if it's comfortable to you. Right hand, you don't have to move your head and neck at all. Left hand. One more time each side. Inhale straight up with that gaze. Exhale down, leave the gaze forward, stop the hands at heart center. Option, if it doesn't feel good to you to have your hands here in heart center, there are all sorts of ways you can play with it. You can always put them wherever you like them, anywhere you want. You don't need my permission. But if you like, sometimes I like to do it, but keep the palms open a little bit. So instead of it being flat, there's a space. My fingertips are together. You can play with that. Another way that sometimes feels good is for me to drop the fingertips towards the ground. I don't like to put the palms together there, but you could if you like. There's nothing wrong with it. It has to do with the lack of flexibility in my wrists. So whichever one feels best to you today or anything else, I'm going to ask you to shift your weight over to your right foot. So just get the weight in there first. I want you to think about where your hips are. Right now our hips are facing forward, and we're going to keep our hips facing forward. Once we have that weight in the right foot, play with picking the left foot up. Just see. It might take a few times before it gets there. Very important not to lock that right knee joint. Keep some softness in there. And it may be that you can lift your foot right up, and it may be that today that's not going to happen. Doesn't matter. Wherever you are, I'm going to ask you to take it to the top of wherever yours is, and then open your knee out from there. And then bring the foot onto the right leg for tree pose. It's just a different entry into a pose you've done plenty of times before. It may be right here. It may be here. Yours might come right on up. Just see where you feel. It's brand new today. First hip opener of my day, so I'm not going to go too far. If it is available to you, if the balance is there, if you found a gaze point that isn't moving around, you can see about that inhaling the arms out and up again. And exhaling, you can either leave them up there or bring them back down through. Try a couple more breaths. Do whatever feels best with your arms. And as you finish, whichever that is for you when you get there, softly bring that knee forward again and place your left foot gently down. And then shift your weight from side to side a little bit. And you might want to widen your stance to do that. If you need to wiggle your fingers, your hands, your arms, your neck, your head, anything, take the time. It's so funny when I haven't been moving a lot already, I can feel how different that feels. Having put that weight in my right leg, even though I kept lifting, even though I was long, my right leg feels so different than my left leg. So let's try to even that out, shall we? Let's bring ourselves into that comfortable stance. Hands can be wherever it serves you. You might want to change them up. You might want to keep them the same. Just see how you feel today. Shifting the weight into that left leg. Onto the left foot. And just play first. Soften that knee joint so you're not locking anything, and just play with picking up your right. Might be easy peasy today, might not be. If you are practicing outside and there's any wind, you will notice it. It's so funny how the slightest breeze you notice when you're balancing in tree pose or any pose probably. So just see where it is, your extension of it that feels steady enough to rotate that knee out, and then bringing the foot to wherever it wants to anchor. Again, those hips are still forward, and you're just going to play with your balance. We're just playing. Just play with it. See where it is. This one is not as cooperative as my right leg this morning, but who knows? Let's see. Adding the breath if you choose, and whatever hands you want to coordinate with that. You can just stay right here and breathe however it best suits you, supports you. You want to try the deep breaths through the nose. Last exhale whenever you get to yours. Keep those hands at heart center. Bring the knee forward. Gently place that right foot down and step between the two. Feel the difference. Shift your weight. Actually shift your weight from side to side. That does all sorts of things in our body. So then, that's getting a little wrinkly. Find yourself a comfortable little stance wherever that may be for you. We're going to do just 3 more of those breaths we started with. Soften those knees, a little deeper bend if that's okay with you right now. Inhaling out and up. Exhaling to bring those hands down. Gaze follows if it feels good to you. So the hands release, the face is down. One more time. When you inhale, draw the head back, make a double chin. For me, it might be more like a triple chin at this point. And then reset your neck, your head, anything you need to do. Feel around, take any movement you need to. I'm going to turn so that you can see me sort of sideways. We're going to keep our core. I'm in a blousey sort of shirt today, but you can still see enough. We're going to keep our core nice and long. The torso is going to stay long as we move into some sort of soft warrior one. So what I'm going to ask you to do first is let your right foot stay forward, shift your weight there, step your left foot back. So you want to maintain a distance, a space in between your feet. So when I stepped back, I went straight back. I didn't go behind the right foot. So first things first, make sure you've got that. It means our hips are going to stay, our feet are going to stay basically hip distance apart, or your version of that where you feel stable enough. Didn't take a big, huge one. Like I said, this is my first movement this morning, so you might be deeper. As you get there, what I'm going to ask you to do is draw attention to, as soon as you step back, what that does in your body. So because you are contracting more of the muscles on the left butt cheek basically, side, hip area. What can happen if we don't have a lot of flexibility in the low back is it can immediately cause us to do this. So butt's going out. I'm crunching up my low back. My belly is sagging forward. There's nothing wrong with that in certain places, but in Warrior One, that's not what we want to see. So if it helps you to actually feel where you are, you want to have the length coming out so your low back has plenty of room. And that does not mean that I suck my stomach in because I want my breath to be able to get in there so it's not a deep contraction. But it does mean that I have to activate those muscles in order to keep this space. So play around with where that is for you. And then as you find it, keep that long length in your torso. Soft little bend in your right knee, not a deep, deep one. Just see where it is. See how it feels. Notice where your weight is. A lot of times we shift our weight into the back foot, and that's not bad, but maybe you can bring some of that weight into your front foot and even it out a little bit more. Not completely 50-50, but just is there any place that could go? If it was in your front foot, can you shift some of it into your back? Play around with that. Arms can stay down by your sides. They can come up in whatever variation you're feeling today of center, or if it's available to you, they can reach up. See how you feel. If those arms reach up, please relax your shoulders away from your ears so that that reach is not crunching everything up. It's nice and long. Lengthen through the fingertips. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, let it out. One more deep breath in. And on the exhale, let those hands return to whatever place serves you best right now. We're going to see if any of this will creep a little further out. So I'm creeping my front foot forward, but you might want to creep your back foot forward. Whichever one is the easiest one for you. See if there's a little more space to be found. Hips stay in that square, that facing forward. And just see, just see. You want to keep that space. You want to keep that lift. So we're already, this is one of my pet peeves in the world when people go, I want to do ab work in yoga. This is ab work in yoga, y'all. I mean, we're going to do some more, but this is keeping all of this, keeping the integrity of your spine when you're in poses that you may have been in plenty of times. That is core work. Soften those shoulders. Just see. If it would be available for you to drop your left hand down and reach your right hand up. And if it is, long through that core, tall through your torso, reach through those fingertips. And what that will do is cause you to lengthen in one side and contract in the other. So reach those left fingertips towards the floor. Reach those right fingertips towards the ceiling. And then at the same time, try to draw that right shoulder out away from your ear. So many things, so many things. Nice deep breath. Check with that low back. Exhale, reach. And then inhale, bring it back. Woohoo. Nice. We're going to step our feet together, however is the easiest way for you to get there. I'm going to lean forward and come up on my toes and give a little push. You might take lots of them. It might be easier for you to step that front foot at whatever. As long as you get yourself back on both feet. And we're going to do some of the same things with the other leg back. So this time, it is my right foot that's going to slide back. A comfortable stance. Again, it's not a super deep one. Both feet are flat on the floor. I'm going to check in with those hips first and make sure that they're facing forward and aren't already doing weird cockeyed things. They're level, long through all of this. There's plenty of space here. Play with where the weight is. See if there's any way to make that more even. Bend into that front knee a little. And you might find if you do it slow enough, you might be able to feel where your weight wiggles around. A lot of times as soon as we bend that knee, that hip wants to draw forward. So make sure that those things are going back. Those are the foundations of what you're doing. Arms, wherever it best serves you. Set yourself up, soften those shoulders. Come back to that breath. Make sure it's all the way in, all the way out. You're not constricting your throat, gritting your teeth. If it is available, those arms can reach up. Hands can stay together. Hands can come apart. They don't have to reach up at all. They could reach out. That might feel better to you. Take your pick. Feel those foundations. Come back and recheck them. Keep that breath going. Torso is reaching up with the exception of your shoulders. Next, exhale wherever that is for you. Arms come back down to whatever variation of center feels best. Widening the stance if it's okay with you, if it feels comfortable enough to do it. Just deepening it a little bit. You can play around with it and see. And it may not. No worries. Find those places. Check your checkpoints. Build your foundation, including the weight. Where's that weight going? Am I holding my front foot? Am I largely in the back foot? Somewhere in between. And then, if it is available, again, only if it is, this time the left arm reaches up, the right arms reach down. Fingertips, all the way through the fingertips reaching. And then as the right fingertips draw towards the ground, the left ones draw up towards the ceiling or the sky. And you continue to breathe. When you take a deep inhale, it will stretch out that side a little bit more. If you continue to reach, it will contract the other side. And then letting them come back to center. Getting your balance. Letting the feet come together, however they're going to be able to easiest come together for you. We're going to take ourselves down onto the mat, which just keeps moving today. So whichever way is the easiest way for you to get there. Snap, crackle, pop, go all of my joints. And we're going to start out in a little hands and knees, neutral spine. We've been here plenty of times. Well, if you are on your palms, spread those fingers wide enough to help give your wrists some support. Actually use the fingers. Use them to help put some weight into them. So the tailbone is going directly to the wall behind me. It's not reaching up right here or curled down. It's a nice neutral. Gaze towards the floor. And I'm going to ask you to take this entire setup that you've just made and take your hands about a hand distance forward. And then as you bring your shoulders over those wrists or fists, if you are up on your fist, if it doesn't feel okay, you walk yourself into a modified plank. And you may have to walk them a little further forward. Just play with it. When you do this, please note your feet can be up if that's easier for you, if it's softer on your knees. Wrists are below the shoulders. I'm not collapsing my heart. I'm not sagging in here so my shoulder blades aren't together. There's a broadness between them. I'm also not rounding my upper back. I'm not pushing my shoulders sort of up away. So there's a balance there. Be nice to your neck, please. None of this craziness here. Let it be nice and long. Draw your front body towards your back body a little bit. Not enough to change the orientation of your pelvis. You want that tailbone to stay right where it was, but a little bit of contraction, a little bit of awareness helps to keep it lifting towards the back. If you would like to turn it into a full plank instead of a modified plank, let those toes come down and then try to just lift the knees. Woo! Now I'm going to bring them back down because I'm going to talk to you about something. Continue to hold it as long as you like or bring them back down. Depending on the strength of your low back, it may be that when you do this, the pull is so tight that you have to lift your hips up a little bit. If that is where you find yourself, you can do that. Or you can stay in the modified plank. You don't have to have any sort of pain. This is going to help to strengthen that low back, but it doesn't have to be strong right now. It's not going to be strong on our decree, right? We're going to have to work on that. If you are in that plank, for heaven's sakes, come down. You rock star. If you need to come off of your hands, move your wrists. You need to sit back. Whatever you need to do, we're going to take that one again because I didn't really take it that first time. Find your way to the modified version first. It's a lot easier to set up your foundations here than when you were holding all of your body weight up off the floor. Just is. Long through that spine, including the neck. Set it all up. Keep those elbows coming towards in, or coming towards in, you know what I'm saying. If you would like to take the full, take the full. Keep breathing. One more breath, come on. Nice deep breath. Oh, exhale, bring those knees down. Come off of your wrists. We will child's pose next time we come out of it, I promise. I know. It would feel so good right now. And if you're done, hey, you can take it now. We'll all meet you shortly. Coming out of those wrists, we are going to go back down actually this time to forearms. If that's not available to you, you can be back up on the palms or the fist. So wherever that is, in order to get them there though, setting up that modified plank again. Nice form. Dropping down to the forearms. And when you drop down to the forearms, please note that your hips want to follow you down. This isn't a plank of any variation, my loves. Hands can be flat, hands can be tucked. Be careful not to, if you do interlace your fingers, drop your pinky in so it doesn't get squashed. Shoulder blades, broad back, shoulder blades down, away. Soft neck, onto the toes, and just lift up the knees, just get the legs. Front body is lifting towards the back body. Nice deep breath. One more. Knees come down. Oh, lower that belly. If your hands are interlaced, let your palms come down. Elbows are still below the shoulders. Shrug those shoulders up and then down your back. Gaze just in front of your fingers so the neck stays nice and long. Reach through those toes. Make sure that the top of every toe is on the floor. And then pull your heart forward. And breathe. In Sphinx pose. A really nice stretch for the abs where we have been contracting them, lifting them. But you have to exhale all the way. Deepest part of the stretch is at the bottom of the exhale. We're going to bring our palms to replace our elbows. Press yourself up. And then, oh yes, there it is, the child's pose. You can take whatever child's pose feels best to you. If it would feel better to have your knees wide, you can widen the knees. Wherever it is, sink those hips back. And lengthen yourself towards the floor. Your head might come down to the mat. It might not. If it doesn't, you're always welcome to stack your palms or even your fists up, or put a block under your head. Bring your attention back to that breath. Let it grow deeper and longer. Think about sinking your hips back down a little bit more. There might be some space that might help you to sort of wiggle your weight from side to side. It may not. Just see how you feel. And then keeping the torso where it is, let the hands reach down instead of up. So one at a time. You draw the hands down by the feet, palms up. You're still in child's pose, but it's a different sort of feeling in the back body. Come back to that breath. Let your breathing be deep and full. Letting the palms come back by your upper body, pressing into them just enough to lift yourself up and come into a seat. Whatever seat would be most comfortable to you, there's not a right or wrong one. Wherever that is, whatever seat you are in, wiggling out your sit bones. Let your spine stack up. So from where your sit bones, which are part of your pelvis, where that is connected to the ground, let your spine be nice and long. Stack one vertebra on the other. Soften those shoulders away from the ears. All sorts of space right here. Lots of space. Hands can be wherever your hands would feel best. If they are resting, palms face up to receive or down to close off. Whichever would feel better to you right now. Come back to that breath. The eyes are closed. Leave them closed. If they're not closed, but it would feel okay to you to close them, go ahead and close them. You don't have to. There's no requirement to do it. It can sometimes help it be easier to follow the breath. And just feel in your body. I know that sounds sort of crazy, but we spend a lot of time not actually feeling how we feel physically. So just feel in your body. Feel if there's anything that's heavy, open. If there's anything that feels lifted or spacious or tight or heavy. These things aren't good or bad. So where you can, avoid thinking of being tight as being bad. Just call it what it is without assigning it a good or bad. Anytime it starts to get too much, right back to inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Right here, we're just right here. Nothing needs to be any different than it is right this second. If it is okay with you, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in and let those hands come out and up, sort of like we started. So a nice deep breath. And then exhaling them down to whatever version of center feels best to you today, right now, right this second. Couple of cleansing breaths. Deep, deep inhale in through the nose. Release it through your mouth. One more time. Deep inhale through the nose. And sigh it out. Doesn't have to be delicate, y'all. Not required for it to be pretty. If it is okay to bring your hands into prayer, Anjali Mudra at Heart Center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Namaste. Oh, yay. I hope that helps you feel a little bit longer and maybe a little bit stronger, and if anything, a little more peaceful. I will see you next time.